tough year to be the chairman.
I can imagine. You're probably going, where was Mark Wade?
Oh my God, it was awful. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, you give it up this year.
So, let's see. You're still doing shows.
Yes, I've cut back like a lot. I'm sort of semi-retired, but I still do shows.
Okay. Are you doing a lot of banquets? You did an excellent lecture on banquets.
Right, I do a lot. I like banquets. I think I said it in my lecture. I like banquets because more than I've done theaters and clubs, because you get to know your audience before you perform for them. You're sitting down at a table with them and talk to them and get to know what their organization is and stuff. And so you can personalize the programs a lot. I like that, and that's what my reputation is that when I come in, my shows are always, for every program, is geared just to that organization. So I like it.
Excellent. You wrote some books for Mayor Studios.
Yep.
Can you talk about how that came about?
I think Clinton and I became pretty close friends, and I was in marketing, obviously, and I think he asked me to write columns for his newsletter, and I started doing that. And some of the columns, the subject matter, he said, you should just write a book about that. And I said, I don't know if I can do that. So I think my first book was on trade shows, because he said nobody else is doing that. So it was pretty funny, because then I had to buy some of his other books, like cruise ships, because I didn't know how people wrote those books, and I read them and went, oh, I think I can do a book on that. So I did a book on that, and it sold pretty well. And I don't know how many I did trade shows. I think I did Magic and Ventriloquism. I did a banquet book. I did Putting Money Where Your Mouth Is, Marketing Yourself and How to Make Money, and ad-libbing. He asked, most of the time he would say, do what you want now. But he did ask for an ad-libbing one. And I said, I don't know if I can do that. So I started writing it. I finished it. I gave it to him, and I said, I think this sucks. And he read it, and he said, it's exactly what people need, because my premise is there are no real ad-libs. Mm-hmm. Okay? And he said, that's what people need to know, and you did well. And I gave them scripts and things like that, and examples of how people do it. It's really funny, because I did a lecture on it here, and I was saying, the biggest laughs are ad-libs, and they're not really ad-libs. And I said, so don't ever believe it. They're not. So that night, Marty and Bob Hamill got on stage, and they have a bit in their performance where he forgets a line. And they both split up and start laughing and everything. And it's, to me, it was real obvious, well, that's planned, right? It's the biggest laugh they get. And people that were in my lecture the day before were going, oh, that was so great, the way you just kept going and laughed and everything. I'm thinking, were you listening?
Well, and Jeff takes your advice too, because he does that in his shows.
He's brilliant.
He's brilliant at it. Yeah.
Yep. He has a huge joke file like I do about professions or anything. So when he starts talking to people in the audience, he's got the jokes in the back of his head and he pulls them. He's great at it. He's the best I've ever seen.